two, three. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's about it. It's good. No, a little slow. Alright. Yes, Chill Moon. I did see the trailer for Wolverine. I've already. Trust me. I'm on top of this stuff. I run a gaming channel. I'm on top of this stuff. I've already filmed my video going over my thoughts on State of Play. I filmed Superman. I'm doing a live stream. I already filmed a video earlier this morning going over which Metal Gear game I think should be remade, and then afterwards I filmed a video sharing my thoughts on everything that was shown during State of Play. So trust me, I did see the trailer for Wolverine. If you want me to talk about it more, ask again. But trust me, I've already filmed my thoughts on it. So trust me, I run a gaming channel. I'm on top of it. And how are you doing, Daniel? How are you doing? Hello, Jackie Boy. Welcome to the stream. I took a break from those. I mean, not really a break, but just like 5 animated. I mean, to be fair, I don't like games that are like almost perfect 10s. I don't know about that. I mean, that would take a lot of time because I'd have to go over every single game I've ever played that's like a 9.5 and being like, eh. And if you're talking about like live action movie moments, I mean, if you really want to know what they are, I could do that. Like, do you want to know what they are? I've thought about it. I can tell you them right now. So let me know, Commander Ship. If you want to know what the top 5 live action Batman movie moments are, I can do that right now if you want. Like, I really thought about that. Hey Zach, how you doing? I'm doing fine. So it looks like Netflix and Universal are now in a bidding war with Paramount to buy Warner Brothers. Good God. Also, nice shirt. Oh, you like the shirt? Yeah, I saw a Star Wars strip club show last week, and I want to go back. I want to see it at least 2 more times, and take some friends. Yeah, we have like a Star Wars strip show here in town that's been here for a bit, and I had a great time. I saw it with my cousin. It was a lot of fun. It really was. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm okay to see Marvel's Wolverine trailer, yeah. You gave Mass Effect a 10. Okay, well, that's good. You give a lot of games 10s. Okay, you want to know what they are? All right, here they are. They're not in any particular order, but here they are. One of them is Batman jumping off the building in Batman Forever when he's going after Two-Face. That's a pretty cool scene. I think Batman calling the Bats in Batman Begins. The first appearance of the Batmobile in Tim Burton's Batman. Number 4, I think it was in Batman and Robin. I think it's when George Clooney says to freeze, the heat is on. And number 5, it's the final shot of Batman Forever when Batman and Robin are like running towards you with the bat signal in the back, so it's like solo edit, so it's like blacking them out. That is literally my favorite shot in any Batman film ever. I want a wallpaper of that image. It doesn't look very good when they do it when Batman and Robin, when it has Batgirl, but when it's just Batman and Robin, like that shot is the best, most beautiful shot I've ever seen in a Batman film. And like that is like the moment I knew I was a Batman fan. So yeah, those are my top 5 moments. What was one game that with... Wait, what? What was the one game with a strange premise you found enjoyable in terms of gameplay? What? I don't even understand like how you've structured it. Hey Black Wolf, could you like restructure the question, like how you've worded? I don't even understand the question. Like, what's one game with strange premise? So I'm not sure if you mean what's a game with a strange premise I enjoyed. I mean, is that your question? And welcome Vamp. What's more impressive, LeBron going to 10 finals or Jordan going 3-peats? Well, of course, Jordan winning. I like winning. Who cares if you go to 10? Did you realize if LeBron James goes to two? Do you realize this? I think if LeBron James goes to two more finals and loses two more finals, do you realize he would have the record for like, or at least second most NBA finals losses? And I don't think he's going to another finals again. Like I don't think so. I think the West is too strong unless he's planning to jump to another team. So I mean, going 4-6 is fine. But dude, that's 6 losses. 2 of them sweeps. So yeah. Was Alia Secura one of the dancers? No, she wasn't. But it focused mainly on the original trilogy characters. So like if there was every character outside of Han Solo, Lando, and Chewie were played by women. So there was like female Luke, Akbar was there. That was interesting. There was a female Boba Fett. There was a female C-3PO. Yeah, but no. Yeah, I heard what happened to Spider-Boy. I don't care. I mean, it's a shame he got hurt, but like I really don't care. My top 5 Doom games are Dark Ages, Eternals, 2006, Doom 2, and Doom 1993. Okay, that's a good list. That's a good list. Chill Moon. I went to my local mall 2 weeks ago, and they had a store where you can find an image online, and they can put it in a hoodie or a shirt. I chose Metal Gear Solid 4 concept art. Wow, that's actually really cool. Do I prefer Man of Steel or Superman? Okay. Killa, I did a whole video about this. I think, film-wise, I think Man of Steel is a better made film, but I enjoyed Superman 2025 a lot more. I would happily, if I had kids, I would take them to see Superman. I would not take my kids to go see Man of Steel. That is not a movie for kids. Straight up. Sorry. I would never take my kids to go see that. I would wait till they're teenagers before I showed Man of Steel. So I think, again, Man of Steel is a better made film. I had a lot more fun with Superman. And because of that, I probably will end up seeing Superman more times than Man of Steel. Do I think Mr. Freeze used lines compared to himself during Reaper instead of Ice Punch? Oh no. Black Wolf, I enjoyed the Ice Punch. That makes for a great drinking game. I actually rewatched like a reaction video of people rewatching Batman and Robin, and I quite enjoyed it. I think if you watch a movie with friends, you can have a pretty good time. Gordon, I'm enjoying Death Stranding 2 for the gameplay, not the story. Gameplay-wise, it's a good game, in your views. Gameplay-wise, is it a good game? Yeah, dude, I enjoyed the story and the gameplay. Everything was improved. The story is way better. Like, I can understand if you're not into the story that's very Kojima-ish, so if you're not a fan of Kojima's storytelling, you probably won't get into it, but, you know, I understand his style, so it didn't really bother me. It was a much tighter, faster-paced story than what you got in Death Stranding 1, and because of that, I enjoyed it a lot more. Hello, Russ Silver 2099. How you doing? You like Batman Forever 2? Good. No, good to know I'm not alone. Black Wolf, a game with a very strange story, but had a great gameplay. Okay, strange story? Death Stranding. I mean, story's strange, and its gameplay is centered around delivering packages. So I guess Death Stranding counts as a game I really enjoyed in terms of, and Death Stranding 2 in particular, I would say is probably my favorite game that I've played this year. You hate Elden Ring. Well, I'm not a fan of Elden Ring too, so you're not alone. Zach Tarf, I got pictures of Cathedral and Earth and Mass Effect 3. Okay, that's good. I'd say Kingdom Hearts fits that description. Am I a Lord of the Rings fan? Yes, I am, Russ. I've done plenty of videos and reviews on all the films. You beat Borderlands 4. Okay. More I hear about this club, the more I laughed. Female clones of Django. Yeah, there was there's a female Darth Vader who took off her clothes. There was a they had like plenty of stormtroopers. I took my cousin, the Imperial Guards. I will say this. I don't want to spoil this because I want to go back again because I want to see if they switch the acts. But there is one character that you see totally naked? There's like, name one character. I'm not gonna say who it is. Name one character from the original trilogy that you would, under no circumstances, ever want to see totally naked. Well, you see that in this show. It was quite shocking. It's like, wow, I never thought in my life I would see that character totally naked. I mean, like, everything was out. I wonder if you can guess who that was, because we were quite shocked. I did not expect that. Okay, look. I don't want the guy to die. It's just I don't know him. It's like what happened to that Charlie guy was awful, but I'm like, I don't know him. It sucks. No one should die, but I'm like, I don't know him. It's really hard for me to be like, I care about Tom Holland. I don't. I mean, he's a human being, and you don't want anything bad to happen. But I'm like, I don't like the guy. I'm not a fan of him. I'm sure he's I don't know him to have a real opinion. I mean, from what I've heard, he's fine. He took a little spill, hit his head, but he went to some sort of charity. So, I don't know the guy. Mortal Kombat 4 thoughts. Was Sub-Zero a good guy? Yeah, I do believe he was a good guy in Mortal Kombat 4. Pretty sure. Any favorite chapters in Mortal Kombat 11? Mine is Katana's, chapters in 11. I liked... That's a tough one. I liked Sub-Zero and Scorpion's kind of shared chapter where they kind of go buddy and they go after the Cyrax. I did think that was a pretty solid chapter. Describe Man of Steel in 2 words. Good movie. Describe Mass Effect 2 in 2 words. Good game. The best thing about Man of Steel was the soundtrack. It definitely had a great soundtrack. I'll say that. How pissed would I be when Warner Brothers is bought and whatever company wins bids decides to reboot? That just sounds so stupid. I mean, do I think they'll reboot it? I don't know. I think a reboot for Zack Snyder's verse was fine because that had been going along for a long time and it was in decline. But I can't imagine that if another studio tries to purchase Warner Brothers, that they would want to reboot it when only one film has been made. It just seems like that's like you kind of want to give this cinematic universe a try. And if it's successful, why would you want to change that? Now, if it's in decline or it's a bad product, then you have a reason to reboot it. But by the time they rebooted the Snyderverse, it was already a crap product. This has just started, and Superman was a success. A lot of people are pumped up for Supergirl. Peacemaker is fine. They just finished filming, or they're filming Clayface, and Penguin just won a bunch of Emmys. And I'm pretty sure the Batman is going to come out next year or the year after that. So I think if a studio does end up purchasing it, I don't think they'll reboot it until they have a reason to believe that what the product is bad, which I don't think it is. And that just messes things up. Henry Cavill's... okay, no. All right. How to play Devil May Cry games in chronological order. Okay, well, if it's chronological order, it would be 3, 1, 2, 4, then 5. So, have I tried Elden? Yeah, I tried it for like an hour, and then I hated it. So, yeah. Describe Alan Wake 2 in 2 words. Flawed sequel. Was Metal Gear Solid 5 a Kojima game? Yes and no. Like, technically Kojima worked on it, but Konami, like, butchered the hell out of his product. It was like, once he was done and out the door, they ripped out so much and messed so much about that game up that it was like, imagine Kojima making a painting, firing the painter, and then messing up the painting, and then shipping it out. Like, that's ostensibly what happened with Metal Gear Solid 5. Thoughts on the new Hideo Kojima game, especially one coming from PlayStation 6? Have I seen the movie Human Centipede? No, I have not. Horror movie fan. I'm not a horror fan. Not really. But thoughts on the new Hideo Kojima game? Hopefully it's good. Would you take Metal Gear Solid 3 HD on PS3 different than the remake? What do you mean? Would I take it? I already have it. I already have it. Are you like? I obviously I would take it. I already have it on PlayStation 3. So, yeah. I know you couldn't finish Assassin's Creed Revelations, but I personally have it in your top 2 Assassin's Creed games. Almost cried at the end of the game. Okay, well, I'm glad you had a good time. I just thought the game was getting boring. The whole Enzo trilogy is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I think the first 2 are great. Revelations, it just kind of got boring for me. In Deadly Alliance, was Sub-Zero a good guy? Yes, he was. He was Grandmaster. Yeah, 100%. He was Grandmaster. Favorite 3 Star Wars Legends books? That's tough. Okay, Legends. So technically, it's anything that wasn't from Disney. Darth Plagueis. That's a good one. Dark Labyrinth is a good one. And I think Dark Empire. I think those 3 Legends books I think they stand out. I don't know if Lord of the Sith is Legends. That might have been a Disney one, but I would say if that came out during the Disney era, then that's probably my favorite Star Wars book that came out in the Disney era. But if we're talking Legends, meaning pre-Disney, then yeah. Fun fact, the voice actor of L from Death Note was in Man of Steel. Oh, I didn't know that. Have I ever watched Code Geass? I've never heard of Code Geass, Killa. Did you? Oh no, Rashad. Yes, I heard about. They are fucking this up. They're doing this bullshit on purpose. A female Voldemort? You lying dogs. If they had just what's pissing me off isn't that they're remaking it. It's the fact that they claimed that they were wanting to be faithful to the books. If they had come out and just said from the very beginning, we are doing a complete retelling of the Harry Potter books, then that gives you so much flexibility because you're telling me, okay, the story is going to be different. The character is going to be different. You might even add completely different story plots. You might even do a retelling of each individual book. Like maybe things are not going to play out the way they did in the book. And that's fine. But that's not what they told us. They said that they were going to be incredibly accurate to the books. And they have clearly lied. That's why I'm pissed off. That's why I'm not watching it. And I don't even know who... Again, I've had this discussion with my friend. I don't even know who this is for. This is not for fans. This is not for the ones who grew up with the books. This isn't even for the fans that grew up with the movies. And my friend claimed, oh, it's for the modern kids. It's like, that's bullshit because Harry Potter is like, that is so millennial. That is so for the millennial generation. It's not for Gen Z. It's not for the baby boomers. It's not for Gen X. That is so predominantly millennial. And I have no idea who it's for. Because kids are not reading Harry Potter. I have tons of friends that have kids that are exactly the same age that we were when these books came out. And I am telling you, none of them are reading Harry Potter. They're too busy watching TV or watching Hulu or on their iPads. They're not reading books. And even if I wanted to get my kid, if I had a kid into Harry Potter, why the hell would I want to show them a mutated television version of these books when I can just have them watch the movies the same way I did? It's the same way with Disney films. Why the fuck would I want to take my kids to see a butchered out live action version of these Disney classic films when I can just Show them the exact same film I saw at their age. I cannot think of a better joy than seeing my 5-year-old kid enjoying The Lion King the same way I did when I was 5 years old. I can't think of a better experience. So these changes, it's not Harry Potter anymore. And it's clear they have some kind of agenda to take it out on J.K. Rowling now. It's not Harry Potter anymore. So, like, just stop calling it that. Call it anything else. Sorry about that. I got rather emotional. How was Metal Gear Solid 5 butchered? It was butchered. They took a lot of... They altered the story. There was a number of gameplay functions. And the game felt very empty. Like, if you look at those maps are big, but they are empty. There was clearly meant to be a lot of things that were meant to make the maps a lot more full. And there were a number of story beats that they clearly ripped out or they changed or they altered. That has been clarified. Tifa is a lovable waifu. Yeah, I agree. She's right there on my wall. So I would say she was probably my first waifu crush. Like, I would say Kimberly was like my first live action crush. And like Tifa was like my very first video game crush. And I was 7. So that kind of confirmed I'd never be gay. Which I'm thankful for. If Kojima made Metal Gear Solid 5, what would it be different? The story would have been very different. It was telling... Okay, here's the thing, Gordon. The story... They were telling the wrong story. And it made the mistake of creating... It messed up information that was already confirmed in other games. And that was clearly not Kojima's design. I don't know who wrote it or who changed it, but they didn't pay attention to the story. Like, so if you play the games in chronological order and you get all this information and then you go back and you play 5, it contradicts so much information from other games. And so if you go back and play those games, by Phantom Pain's logic, so many things you were told were wrong. And it made no sense. It was based entirely around the idea that the first boss in the very first Metal Gear game was not Big Boss. That is the entire point of that story. And it's the wrong story. It should have told the story of the conflict between Big Boss and Major Zero, which was really raging at that point. And how the hell do you have a prequel to Metal Gear and not introduce Solid Snake as a kid or as a young soldier? The fact that they would add Liquid in there and not Solid Snake was a crime. It told the wrong story. And that clearly was not Kojima's idea. They completely altered what story that he originally made. We will never know what that story was, but I do not believe for a second that how that story played out in its final form as we have it now was Kojima's idea. I refuse to believe that, because even though he himself gets confused by his own storytelling, it's never been that bad. The story for Phantom Pain was awful. Do I like Bayonetta? It's okay. I've never beaten it. I own a copy, but I've never beaten it. Okay. Alright, I'm behind on questions, so I'm gonna have to rapid fire some of these questions. Do you think it would be cool to see some monsters from Hollow Earth close up? Absolutely not. Phone's about to die. See it. Alright, well, thanks for stopping by. What do I think about Konami asking fans to choose? Okay, chill out. I did a video about this. It's coming up next. I've already filmed it. I already go over which games I want remade. So, I've covered that. Don't worry. My favorite Assassin's Creed game is Black Flag. Same as me. Black Flag is my favorite Assassin's Creed game. I'm okay with a remake because it's not a 10 out of 10 for me, but like I'm curious what they would change. What is my favorite Assassin's Creed main theme? Probably the second one. I tried Ghost of Tsushima and it was great. It is great. It would make sense if Trent summed up was perfectly. Metal Gear Solid 5 should have never existed story-wise. I agree, Vamp. Absolutely, I agree. You're pumped up for a Wolverine game, although it's not my top 5 favorite X-Men games, like X-Men Origins, Wolverine, and, of course, it looks pretty good. And I talk more about it in my video. If they were to make a live action Metal Gear, no movie, TV series, 10-part TV series. You cannot tell a Metal Gear Solid story properly in 2.5 hours. You can't even do that shit in 3 hours. And a Metal Gear movie would absolutely bomb. They've been trying to do a movie for like 15 years and they have had no progress. It's never going to happen and it shouldn't happen. Absolutely not. Ghost of Tsushima in Japanese dub has many annoying female voices, but still great. I can understand that. Yes, fam, exactly. Metal Gear Solid 5 ruined 4's ending. Yes, my point exactly. And when you take into effect that Metal Gear Solid 4 is not only my favorite game on PlayStation 3, which is my favorite PlayStation, it's my third favorite video game of all time. Top 5 is MGS3, Final Fantasy X, Metal Gear Solid 4, Dead Space 2, and Resident Evil 5. Those are my top 5. So the fact that it ruined the ending of my number 3 favorite video game made it very personal for me. I agree. They should have, yes, Black Wolf. You get it. That was my problem. Not the gameplay-wise, it's fine. It was the wrong story. And when it comes to Metal Gear games, I always value the story over the gameplay. Why was Kojima fired? We will never know, Gordon. Some say he was spending too much money. Maybe he was sleeping with the CEO's wife. We will never know. It has never been confirmed. It has never come out exactly why. But like people say, oh, their game, it was costing too much money, so we fired him, which is ridiculous. Like, they weren't doing anything with their other franchises. Come on. That is such a bullshit answer. So Venom is probably the next Insomniac game. Maybe. Okay. The soundtrack to Ezio's trilogy is beautiful. Yes, I agree. How about comic that expands Gene's origins? You could do that, but Gene is such an not well-known character. I don't think it would do much. What if they make multiple Metal Gear movies with sequels? No, you can. I'm telling you, Vin, you cannot do a proper Metal Gear Solid movie. It cannot be done. If you want to do a TV series, I would be all right with that. But a movie would be a very bad idea. I'm telling you, it's a bad idea. Tom Hardy, I'm sorry, Metal Gear is not as popular of a franchise as some of you may think. It's not a Sonic. It's not a Zelda. It's not one of these top-tier legendary franchises that has a long pedigree and a wide variety of success. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite franchise, but I acknowledge it's not a top 10 franchise. Hell, it's probably not even a top 30 franchise. And it's a franchise that will not draw in a crowd of people that have no idea what it is. If you were to go out on any street and ask 10 random people, you would be lucky to find one person that knows what the hell Metal Gear Solid is or what the hell a Metal Gear is. Like, most people know who Mario is. Most people know who Sonic is. If you're going to make a franchise, it needs to be off of a very popular, well-known franchise now. Like Minecraft. Minecraft is incredibly popular right now. Metal Gear is not that now. It might have been 10, 15 years ago. But you just had a remake of a game that came out 20 years ago. Metal Gear is not as popular. And it's probably going to be a good 5, 6, 7 years before you get another Metal Gear game. It's not one of these franchises that has a new entry come out in small periods of time. There are long periods of time between Metal Gear games. So no, it's not going to work. What's my opinion on Resident Evil 6? Okay, hang on. I gotta go back. Tom Hardy as Solid Snake for Metal Gear Show. No, he's too old. Yeah, Tom Hardy. No, he's too old. Don't you mean Resident Evil 4? You said 5. I said 5. Okay, I meant 4. How did Metal Gear Solid 5 ruin 4? Okay. I wish I could pause the chat. Okay, Gordon. It's a long explanation, but the simplest form I can explain is that there was information that was told at the end that explains the entire plot line of the entire franchise. That's why 4 is so important. It literally explains the entire plot. A 70-year plot line that goes from Metal Gear Solid 3 through Portable Ops, through Peace Walker, through Metal Gear, through Metal Gear 2, through Metal Gear Solid, through Metal Gear Solid 2, all the way to 4. An 8-game series stretching 70 years. And 4's ending explains the entire plot of the franchise. What Phantom Pain did is add new information that contradicts everything that happens afterwards. So it messes up information that was told to us in Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 4. And makes Big Boss a liar in terms of the information he is telling Solid Snake. And information that other characters are telling Solid Snake. Phantom Pain added all this information that cancels out everything we know about 1, 2, and 4. And it in itself makes the entire Snake bloodline irrelevant. It makes Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, Solidus Snake, and even Naked Snake himself pointless in their own franchise. That's what Phantom Pain did in a short term. It did a lot of other things story-wise, but that's the shortest way I can explain why I hate Phantom Pain's story so much. That clearly could not have come from Kojima. There is no way. What is my opinion on Resident Evil 6? I'm not a fan of it. I still stand by Cate Blanchett being the best pick to play the boss. She could if she was a little younger. I don't think she would do that now. I think she's too old. You would love to see a God of War animated series. I think that could work. Yet, Resident Evil has a ton of movies. Resident Evil has a lot of movies, but they're mostly bad. Resident Evil is more popular than Metal Gear. I'll tell you that. Evan Peters is Leon S. Kennedy. Absolutely not. Metal Gear Solid film would need to be low budget. Yeah, no. Not gonna happen. Which Resident Evil game has the best story for Chris? Ooh, that's a tough one. Gee, that's tough. For Chris? I mean, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it might be 5. Like, if I'm being honest, like, look at the games he's in. Resident Evil 1. Is he really the main character? Kind of, but, like, you got Jill there, you got Rebecca there, you got Barry there, so it's not really Chris focused. He shows up in Code Veronica, but that's more of a Claire thing. He shows up in Umbrella Chronicles, but, again, that's kind of split into multiple characters, so, I mean, he is the lead in 5. For me, so I would say the story is probably best for him in 5, in my opinion. Metal Gear Solid 5 just added more stuff that will never be explained. Yeah, I mean, Vamp explained it a little bit more simpler, but I kind of went into more detail. But yeah. From your point of view, was the boss a true villain? No. She wasn't really a villain. She was kind of a victim. She was not a villain. The ending of 3 makes that very clear. She was not a victim. She might have been naive in believing the world she'd be leaving behind, but she wasn't really a villain. And that's very common across a lot of Metal Gears, where from one point of view, this person seems like a bad person, but once you understand their story, you kind of realize that in some case they were kind of a victim. Which game couple do I think is better, Squall, Renoa, or Titus and Yuna? I'm going to say Squall and Renoa. Simply because Renoa was able to get through that tough exterior of Squall's. So I would say Squall and Renoa. I think it's a better couple, in my opinion. You're not a fan of Resident Evil 6? No. I am 100... Resident Evil 6? Oh, 6! Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused here. I thought you... Okay. My mistake. I was getting my numbers confused. I thought you meant 7. 6? Oh, I think it's fine. I just think that some of the stories aren't starting to... I think Leon's story is really good. it has different tones, and I think my least favorite of the tones is definitely Kristen Pierce's timeline or their story arc. But okay, yeah, I'm getting mixed up. I apologize, Vamp. I apologize. I will always defend the first two. Yeah, I'll defend the first one. I'll defend the first one. I actually think the first live action Resident Evil movie is generally good, and Apocalypse is a little bit shaky. But like after that, it goes off a cliff. Would you say Portable Ops is a forgotten? I so want to do a video talking about that. That game, in my opinion, has the second best Big Boss story. That gets no respect. That is such a good story. I'll say this. That game's story for Big Boss is like top 5 favorite stories in all of Metal Gear. Maybe a top 3, in my opinion. It gets no respect. Hugh Jackman as Deathstroke? No. Have I played Assassin's Creed Origins? Yes, Killa, I have, and I really liked it. Resident Evil 5 is the last great mainline Resident Evil game, in my opinion. Yeah, I can understand that point of view. Have I watched Aqua Team Hunger Force? No, I really wasn't into that. Resident Evil CGI movies were good. I think some of them were good, and then some of them I didn't really like. Have I ever watched Disney's Recess in the late 90s? No, I have not. And I think I'm all caught up on questions. So, I think I'm all caught up. Have I watched Aquaman 2? No. Did not see that. I thought the first Aquaman was okay, but I didn't really care much for a sequel. Plus, you have the whole Amber Heard situation, so I was like, Nope. The first 3 were good. I guess I could say the first 3. Yeah, I would say the first 3 were good. I would say, yeah, I agree. What is the game that took me the longest to finish? Okay, when you say longest to finish, do you mean in like one general sitting or like over a period of time? Because it's a different answer depending on how you mean. As Assassin's Creed Shadows looks like it's a really great concept because it's in Japan. Yeah, well, I'm having fun with it. I enjoyed it. Death Island was fun fan service. Yeah, and it was also kind of just weird. Over a period of time, okay, this is going to sound weird, but if we're talking over a period of time, I would probably say Final Fantasy VII. It took me maybe 15 years to beat that game, and here's why. I first played that game when I was 7, got stuck, stopped playing it, and so years went by, I was able to revisit it, played it again, couldn't really finish it, and I stopped, waited a number of years, did it again through the PlayStation 2 era, and then it really wasn't until the PlayStation 3 era when I was in college that I actually sat my ass down, played Final Fantasy, beat it from beginning to end, and I was wondering, why the hell, like, this game wasn't that hard. Why the hell did it take me this long to beat it? Like, my memory of this game is so weird. It's like, I thought this game was so hard for so long, and then when I just sit down and just stick with it, I was able to beat it like in 2 days. I was just like, why did this game take me 15 years to beat? I don't know. I think The Matrix Reloaded is as good as the first one. I wouldn't say that, but I will say I have a lot more fun watching Reloaded than the first Matrix. I think I'm not ashamed to say I've seen Matrix Reloaded way more times than the first Matrix. The first Matrix is good, but compared to Reloaded, it felt a little basic. Still think it's a better film, but I just enjoy Reloaded a little bit more. Have I heard the rumor of Leon possibly being... I saw the pictures where it's an old man, Leon, and he has an eye patch. I don't believe it until I see it. And even if he's in the game, I'm on the fence if I even want to play 9. I don't know if I even want to. If Hulk flops in the new Super and Spider-Man movie, they need to bring back Eric Bana's Hulk for Avengers Secret Wars. I mean, okay. I mean, I'm not gonna see Secret Wars or any. I'm I'm not gonna watch any Avengers films, but I mean, if you want to see that, go ahead. Thoughts on American Psycho? I thought Christian Bale was absolutely incredible as Bateman. Absolutely incredible. Easily one of Christian Bale's best performances. Easy. Don't know why they made sequels that went direct to DVD, but yeah. They need to bring all the X-Men actors back for Secret Wars. I think they tried. I think they got as many as they could. But again, I'm not going to see that. Logan is not as good as... Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's still a great film. But do I like Days of Futures Past a little bit more? Yeah. It's an X-Men film that, for once, doesn't center around Logan. That's kind of what the first three films did. It's like, why are we focusing on Wolverine's character? Like, Wolverine's a good character, but, like, really, if you really look at Wolverine amongst the X-Men, he's like a B-tier character. Like Scott's the leader of the X-Men. Like, what's going on here? I always thought that was weird. You have no interest in Resident Evil 9. It looks exactly like Resident Evil 7 and 8, and I didn't like those. American Psycho only had one sequel, and it sucked. Are you sure? I recall there was another one, but if there's only one, okay, good. I think that's best. People hate on Matrix Reloaded way too much. It had a lot of epic moments throughout the film. I agree. That's a fun movie to watch. Reloaded, I can understand some of the hate, but Reloaded, no. I actually have a lot of fun with that film. I've seen that multiple times. Have I ever watched Dragon Ball Z Kai? No. Don't need to. I'd love to see a solo Cyclops movie. I don't know about that. Maybe if Cyclops was buddied up with one or two other characters and he happens to be the lead, I think that'd be fine. Like the Scott's family. Like if they made a movie with him, Jean, and say like Cable, then that would be fun. I think a movie like that could work. But like a solo Cyclops movie, I don't know. I heard Dragon Ball might be dead now. No, I've not heard it. Is Spawn 97 worth watching? I think it's fun for a 90s film. I saw that movie when I was a kid, and I enjoyed it for what it is. I enjoyed it. I mean, if you watch it now, it's kind of a crappy movie, but like back then, I enjoyed it. I think it just depends on when you see that film. Favorite version of Spider-Man? Oh, that's easy. My favorite version of Spider-Man is by far the animated version of Spider-Man that was on Fox Kids. So technically Fox's animated Spider-Man. That is by far my favorite Spider-Man. No new anime, manga stopped, and the rights are in limbo. Don't worry, Vamp. Dragon Ball will be back. It'll be back. It's too successful of a franchise to die. It might be taking an extended break, but trust me, when it comes back, it'll come back full force. I have no doubt about that. So you don't have to worry. How bad was Jonah Hex? I never saw Jonah Hex, Killa. I can't say. Who out of all the Snakes is the best soldier in your opinion? I don't think you can answer that question. Like, what do you mean? Because they're all soldiers. I don't know how you define who's better. Who's the better strategist? Who's better at stealth? Who's the best fighter? I really don't know how you define that. Like, if it was like a fatal four-way, who do I think would come out on top? I don't know. Maybe Solidus. I mean, Solidus has got his swords and his armor. He could, but Solid Snake has experience against people with swords, and so does Big Boss. And then Liquid Snake is a good manipulator, so he might try to team up with one of them and then to beat up on one, and then he might backstab that person. So I really can't say who is a better soldier, because at one point all of them were either in command of Foxhound or part of Foxhound. I mean, technically, that's the funny thing. Big Boss invented, that's so funny. Big Boss invented Foxhound. Solid Snake was recruited into Foxhound. Liquid Snake led Foxhound for a time, and then even Solidus kind of formed his own variation of Foxhound. So I'm really not sure who you could say is the best soldier, because they're all elite in their own way. Will I be watching the Death Stranding anime? Yeah, I'll check it out. Kai is accurate to the manga, but Original Z is a good filler to flesh out the story with characters. Yeah, I can understand that. You meant Jonah Hex the film. Yeah, I know, with Josh Brolin in there and Megan Fox. Yeah, I never saw that film. The original DBZ had better dialogue and soundtrack. Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. How would I rank my top five female characters in Metal Gear Solid? Top five? I mean, I can't really put them in any order, but the ones that come out, well, you got Eva, Meryl, Sniper Wolf, Sunny. Who would I add to that? No, Naomi's a little too manipulative. Mae Young, you don't see her enough in there. I would say Big Mama, but Big Mama and Eva are the same person. I guess Paramedic, I guess? I mean, she has some funny jokes in 3, I guess. My favorite version of Harley Quinn is the Suicide Squad 2 version in Injustice. Okay. One Piece has many attractive women and waifus. I'm sure it does, but I've not seen much of One Piece. And I'm on the fence if I should even watch Demon Slayer. I don't know yet. And we got about 13 minutes. Oh, by the way, I do have Indiana Jones with me. Not sure if I should do a stream of that. I don't know. But I am playing it, and I have mixed thoughts on it so far. I'm like 2 hours in, and I have like some mixed thoughts. Do I think Bayek is one of the best Assassin's Creed protagonists? You could certainly say that, but I wouldn't say he's like a top 3 for me personally. But you could definitely say he's definitely one of the better ones. My favorite Uncharted is 2 and 4. Yeah, same for me. I think 2 is better than 4. They're both great games, but I would give the edge to 2. 2 is a 10 out of 10. 4 for me is a 9. But it's still a great game. Hypothetically, crossing over between Resident Evil and Metal Gear, I'd play... that is wishful thinking. Elastigirl from Incredibles is everyone's waifu. Not mine. Not mine. Too housewifey-ing. Like I kind of want someone who is a little bit more sex appeal at the right time, and that's never been Elastigirl. Maybe she was before she became a mom, but we don't see much of that. Demon Slayer is overrated. I don't know. I've had many people ask me about that film, and I'm just like, should I see it if I don't know anything, or is this one of those things that you really need to know what the hell you're watching before you see that film? Like, but to be fair, that is one advantage that I think something like Dragon Ball has. I think you could actually go into some of the later Dragon Ball movies and not have to watch the series to know what's going on, because they tell their own variation of those stories. So you could actually watch like Resurrection F and be fine with it, because they do a slightly retelling of it for the show. So I think that's one advantage Dragon Ball has over Demon Slayer. It's funny how the best Batman killed the worst Joker in American Psycho. Yeah, that is a funny parallel. You think we'll ever get an Uncharted 5? I pray to God we don't. I think 4 had a great ending to the franchise. Come up with something else. When do you think Sony will remaster 4? I'll say 2030. Yeah, maybe. I pray they don't, because they just announced on State of Play that they're re-releasing The Last of Us for like the 20th time again. Which game will come out first, Persona 6 or Kingdom Hearts? Well, my money's on Persona 6, because odds are, Vamp, by the time Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out, you and me will probably be in our 40s, maybe early 50s. I mean, if it took like 15 years just to get Kingdom Hearts 3, add another 15 years. So I think we're probably gonna be parents, if not on the verge of being grandparents, before Kingdom Hearts 4 comes out. Who's more evil, Harley? Wait, what? Who's more evil, Harley Quinn or Homelander? Oh, definitely Homelander. Every Dragon Ball movie can be watched about the series. That's a good point because they don't connect to the series. Like, you can actually watch a lot of the earlier ones and they're like their own isolated stories. So yeah, that is a very good point. Uncharted makes too much money. Not anymore, it doesn't. You realize it's been 10 years. It ain't making any money. It ain't making any money. Possible video top status movies, moments in video games. I think I've done that. Infamous 1 and 2 should get remastered instead of The Last of Us re-releasing it again. I agree. Remaster it. You don't have to remake it. Just make it so I can replay them again. You just wish the arc of the Dragon manga was finally animated. I'm sure it'll happen eventually. Grand Theft Auto 6 has a bigger chance of coming out than Kingdom Hearts 4. Well, that game's set to come out next year, and I think it will. Grand Theft Auto 7 will probably come out. You know what? That's probably a good point. Every Dragon Ball movie is pretty much a 40-minute filler. I don't know about it. I wouldn't call it filler. I mean, it's its own self-containing stories that don't in any way connect to the show. Like, isn't it a little bit weird how we're supposed to be training for the Cell Saga, and yet we run into Broly? Is like, huh, interesting. It's like, aren't we supposed to be like getting ready for Cell? I'm like, why aren't they on the wouldn't that? What would Cell think about that? Like, imagine if that were the case. Like, imagine Cell standing in his like arena or his battle floor, and he senses that Goku and the others are leaving the planet. It's like, what the heck? Like, why are they leaving the planet? Don't they know I'm gonna blow up Earth? Well, they got 4 more days till I blow up the planet, and then they kill Broly and come back to Earth. It's like, we'll just never talk about that. I will be dead when Grand Theft Auto 7 comes out. Heck, man, we might all be dead. So, should easily beat after a fight with Broly. maybe the Saiyans experience a reverse Zenkai boost. Because yeah, I'd say after beating someone, but again, to be fair, Goku did beat Broly with a single powered up punch, like, which was kind of stupid. It's like it wasn't like he just took energy from everyone and beat Broly with a single punch. I think how they took him out the second time was better. That remaster split second if it wait what? Oh, Chillix, don't scare me like that. It's like, what, they remastered it? Like, I'm replaying that now. I'm having a great time playing split second. I didn't take Batman and Robin serious. When I watched it, you'd give it a 6. Yeah, that's fine, but you know what? I think Batman and Robin, I stand by this statement. I think Batman and Robin is probably the single most important Batman film. And the reason is had that movie been successful, had it been a great film, we never would have gotten the Dark Knight trilogy. I think that's a worthy sacrifice. You get one weird toy commercial, and then you get probably one of the greatest trilogy of comic book films of all time. I think that's a good trade-off. Is Disney? They kind of did that in Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Yeah, they kind of did. Is Disney working together with Warner Bros? I would like to see Deadpool interact with Harley Quinn. Yeah, that'd be interesting. The Broly fight was too traumatic to mention in the series. Yeah, it's like, oh my god, that was so bad. Let's just pretend that never happened. What's your favorite anime song? Mine is Blizzard from Dragon Ball Z Broly. I don't have one, to be fair. Where, to be fair, the Z Fighters gave Goku all their power. Maybe that depowered everybody. People have their nerve to say Dragon Ball Super Broly was better character than Dragon Ball Z Broly from the first film. To be fair, I do like, put it like this. I think Super's Broly is a lot more in depth. He's a much better character than how he was in Z. Because, I mean, in Z, Broly was just a mindless brute. In this one, in Super, they do give him a character, and in the manga, they do a lot more with him as a character, to the point where he's, like, a genuine member of the Z team, if we can call them the Z team anymore. Like, could you imagine what Broly would have done if he'd been in the Tournament of Power fighting for their universe? I mean, oh my god. I mean, dude, I would have loved to see that. I would have loved to see what would have happened had Boo not fallen asleep. Or imagine if Cell was part of that team. I mean, there's so many possibilities. We got about 5 more minutes. Did you know before Batman Begins they wanted to do Batman? Yeah, it was called Batman Triumvirate if it had been successful. Yeah, I know. You know, there's still problems revolving around the Blade reboot. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen at this point. Nope. Dragon Ball Z Broly has more personality and control over his powers than Super Broly. I don't know about personality. Z Broly just seemed like a mindless brute. Like, he just wanted to kill things just for the sake of killing things. And in the end, he just, you know, I will say, I won't say if you prefer him in Z than Super, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, I do like him a bit more in Super era thanks to the manga. They did do a lot more. That's just in my opinion. And to be fair, he's able to. The thing about Broly, the difference between Broly's, in my opinion, is that Broly is just overall more powerful than everybody, and everyone has to team up in order to beat him. As opposed to someone like Broly, he has the ability to adapt to higher power levels, and that's something that Z Broly couldn't do. Like, Broly had like a set limit that could be overcome. Broly's right here. He can compete with people at a higher power level, and as he's fighting them, he gets stronger. So he's kind of like the Hulk. And that's why I think Super's version is a little bit better as an overall character. Maybe not in terms of presentation and like aura-ness, but like I do like how they've done more and given him more dimensions as a character than how he was in Z, where he really was just a mindless brute. Like, that's really all he was. I mean, it's fine. Like, if you like Broly being like a mindless psychopath who just wants to kill everything, that is fine. But you have to remember that Bio Broly got taken out by Trunks, Krillin, and Goten. You gotta remember that. So you go from losing to Goku to losing to Gohan and Goten to being beaten by Trunks, Goten, and Krillin. So you gotta remember that. And Bio Broly still counts as a Broly. Frieza teaming up with Universe 7 kind of ruined it and him as a villain. Kind of. Is Blade Runner 2049 a top 20? No, it's not. No, it's okay, but I've only seen that film once. Is there a love triangle between Wolverine, Cyclops, and Jean in the comics? Yeah, kinda. Looks like Battlefield 6 will beat Call of Duty. I mean, I haven't played a Battlefield or a Call of Duty in so long, so I'm not in that fight. Not anymore. Should you play Arkham City on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3? Do it on PlayStation 4. It doesn't matter. I mean, yeah. I mean, heck, if you have it on PlayStation 4, you can play it on PlayStation 5. So, you know, just play it on whatever you want. They're both fine. Broly Z was stronger than Super Saiyan 2 Gohan in the second Broly movie. Yeah, but he did end up losing, though. So... But again, I understand he was stronger, but he still lost to potentially 3 characters that were supposedly weaker than he was. We don't talk about Bio Broly. We don't talk... You know, here's the funny thing about that. A small detail that you don't hear about is that reveals that our Trunks, not future Trunks, but our Trunks can do a Kamehameha. It makes you wonder where he learned that. I mean, as far as we, like, does Trunks even know any of Vegeta's own moves? I mean, we know that future Trunks can do the Final Flash and the Gallic Gun, and I think he's done Big Bang. But, like our Trunks, that's the main blast he uses. He uses a Kamehameha. That's Goku. That's kind of like Goku's move. I mean, do you think Vegeta knows? You think he's pissed off that he knows how to do a Kamehameha, but he can't do a Gallic Gun or a Final Flash or a Burning Attack? I mean that was the first time I see it. It's like, oh my god, Trunks can do that? I mean, makes you wonder, can Vegeta do that? Could you imagine Vegeta doing a Kamehameha? I mean, he technically could kind of do it a little bit, because kind of. I mean, it's like Vegeta or Gogeta, like, so he can half do it. A Blade reboot is like Spawn movie that never came out. From a scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate the Frieza saga? Ooh, an 8. I'd say it's an 8. He probably learned it from Gohan. Trunks did train under Gohan. Wait, we talking about future Trunks or little Trunks? I don't recall a time. Are you? No. Yeah, I'm not talking about future Trunks. I'm talking about our Trunks. Did he ever train under Gohan? I don't recall him ever training under Gohan. He trains. We only see Kid Trunks train under Vegeta a little bit, but I don't recall a single scene. I mean, maybe he learned from Goten, because Goten would have learned it from Gohan, and with Goten and Trunks being best friends, it would make sense for Goten to teach Trunks. But as far as I can recall, I cannot recall a single time where our Trunks trained with Gohan. I can't recall that ever happened. Future Trunks is my favorite arch in Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Maybe Goten. Yeah, that was my thought. Piccolo can grow into a giant, regenerating his limbs and make clones of himself, but always gets shafted. He didn't get shafted in the latest movies. I think they gave Piccolo a much needed boost. And that's what we'll cut it for today's stream. I want to thank everyone that stopped by. I had a great time. I will let you guys know, I do have 2 more videos that I will probably end up posting after this, so keep your eye out for that. And we'll be sure to carry this on next week's stream at around the same time. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Hope you had a great time talking, and I will be sure to catch you guys next week.